What's up, guys, and welcome back to Software Knowledge Solutions. And today we're talking about Rust. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Rust brought us a brand new update. Yes, and a friend of mine keeps playing this game every single day. He's addicted to this game, and he asked me to do an FPS boost guide. I've done one of these before for him, and I loaded it up to my YouTube, and it got a lot of positive feedback, a lot of views, and I helped a lot of people out there. Now, this is why I'm doing a new one. It's because it brought us a new update right now for more graphical intenseness, CPU intenseness, and RAM intenseness. So I'm going to jump straight into this and show you guys what you're going to need to do. So just follow my guidelines and you should be good to go. All right, let's jump straight into this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so the first thing you're going to need to do is go to the search button over here and type in settings, just like this, and press enter, and go to update and security and make sure your Windows is up to date. Just do this on a regular basis. I mean, if the game does updates, your Windows need to do updates. It makes sense. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to click on the home button. Once you're done with that, you're going to click on the home button and you're going to go to system over here and you're going to go to notifications and actions. Make sure you turn this off and only have this one ticked over here. You're going to go to focus assist, make sure this is off, and you can have these three things on if you want, or you can have them off. It depends on your personal preference and your personal machine. Power and sleep, your personal settings. Storage, you can turn this on to free up some more space. I'm not going to go very in depth with this. If you're an advanced PC user like me, you can turn this off. If you are not and you don't want to go in depth with your machine, turn it on. It will help you save up space on your machine. Tablet mode, I highly recommend putting it on. Use the appropriate mode for my hardware and don't switch to tablet mode. I mean, you are not playing on a tablet, you're either playing on a laptop or desktop machine. Alright, multitasking. If you have multiple displays, you switch this on. Okay? If you only have one display, one monitor, whatever the case might be, then you switch this off. Okay, I have multiple screens. If I go to displays, I have multiple. So that is what multitasking is for. But if you have one monitor, one display, switch it off. It can actually increase FPS by a little bit and it will help you. All right. Projecting to this PC, we can just skip that. Shared experiences, make sure you turn all of these things off. And then clipboard, you're going to click clear. I already done this. Just click clear over there. And remote desktop, you're going to turn off unless you use this. Next thing we're going to need to do is go to privacy over here and you're going to scroll all the way down and go to background apps. Now yours might be on like this and all of these things are going to use resources like your RAM, CPU, basically your RAM and CPU. This doesn't do anything to your graphics card that much. It's more about your RAM and your CPU. So I highly recommend just turning this off completely and it will turn all of these things off. So I highly recommend doing that. It will help you a lot. All right, the next step you're going to need to do is go to gaming over here. It's all in the same category, so don't worry. You're going to go to gaming, Xbox Game Bar. If you use this, then you can go ahead and keep it on. If you don't, switch it off. I don't, so I switch it off at your own personal preference. Captures, this is again your own personal preference. I keep them off though. If you want to do it like I do it and go through my steps, turn this off, put it in 30 minutes, turn this off, 30 FPS, standard, and uncheck this box right here. Right? Game mode, I highly recommend turning this off because I actually saw a decrease in FPS by putting this on than having it off. But if you get more FPS by having this on, go check it out, try it out. It's your own personal rig. I have my own personal machine with it's a 9700K RTX 2060 with 16 gigs of RAM. That's what I'm running. So when I run with my machine, personal machine, I keep this off. I just leave it off. All right. So it's your own personal settings over here. Once you're done with that, you're going to go to personalize over here and you're going to go to colors. Now, a lot of people out there use their Windows on light mode like this. It uses a lot of resources of your machine, your CPU, your GPU, and your RAM all at the same time. So I highly recommend, especially for people out there that's running this game on a laptop, especially for you guys. If you're on a desktop as well, I mean, I'm on a desktop, so I also do it, right? I highly recommend keeping it on dark mode so it doesn't use that much resources of your RAM and CPU, and transparency effect you're going to turn off. Just turn it off and then choose a dark color, but it's your own personal preference of what color you're going to use here. I keep mine on this as my own personal one that I'm using, which is called Storm. And then you're going to go to home over here, and then once you're done with that, you are going to go out of this and you're going to go to the search button over here and you're going to type in device manager, just like this, and click on Device Manager. You're going to go to Display Adapters and click on this little arrow here, the drop down arrow, and click on the graphics card you're currently running. Right click on it, say Update Drivers, and say Search automatically for drivers online, and it will let you know if you have the latest drivers installed on your machine. It's very important to keep your graphics card drivers up to date and your Windows up to date. Just keep them up to date and you'll be good to go with games. Alright, once you're done with that, you're going to go to the search button again and you're going to type in graphics settings, just like this, graphics settings, and click on graphics settings. If you have this option over here, depending on your personal rig that you're running, hardware accelerated GPU scheduling, I highly recommend switching this on. If you have it off, it's going to tell you to restart your machine if you've never switched this on before. So I highly recommend switching it on. It actually helps you a lot with performance in your games. Trust me. Right? So maybe just if you don't have this on, you switch it on, it's going to say restart PC is required, whatever the case might be. Go ahead and switch it on. All right. Once you're done with that, you're going to add the game inside you. As you can see, mine's already inside here. It helps me a lot with FPS. All right. How to do this is you're going to click on the browse button over here and you're going to go to where your Steam is installed. You're going to go to Steam Apps, Common, and then you're going to find where Rust is installed. So obviously you're going to press R and there's Rust over there. And you're going to click on the exe file, which is this one over here. And you're just going to say add. I can't add it again for a second time, but it's going to appear over here as an exe right here. And you're going to click on options and you're going to select high performance and let it select your GPU that you're currently running. Say save and then close out of this. Next step we're going to need to do is a power plan for Rust. Now I already made one, but I'm going to show you how to do that. Right, you go to the search button over here and type in edit power plan just like this, and then it's going to say edit power plan. Click on that and you're going to go to power options. Now you can see I already have one that's called Rust. Now how to do this is you're going to say create a plan, say high performance, and you're going to type in, I'm just going to call it Rust 1. So Rust 1, you just call it Rust. Say next, turn this to never, and this one on never, and say create. So there's my Rust 1. Now you have a profile for your power options for Rust. Now you're going to go to change plan settings, change advanced power settings, and then over here is a very, very big important role that you're going to do. You have an active plan right now for Rust itself, okay? The first one is hard disk. Yours might say 10 minutes or 20 minutes like this. What you're going to do is you're going to go into this box and type in 0 and then say apply. Click anywhere and it's going to say never. This is especially useful for people out there that's running their games or their Windows on a mechanical hard drive, not an SSD. Now I run everything on SSDs and I still put this on never, so it's highly recommended to do. Scroll all the way down, go to processor power management, go to minimum processor state and put this on 100. Yours will most likely be at default at 60 or 30, whatever the case might be. Just type in 100 just like this and press enter. Once you're done with that, you're going to go out of this completely and now you have a power plan for Rust itself, and it's going to help you a lot with the power options inside your Windows. Next step you're going to need to do is for NVIDIA users out there, you're going to right click on your desktop and go to NVIDIA control panel. You're going to open up NVIDIA control panel and it's going to look like this. The first thing you're going to need to do is go to adjust image settings with preview and you're going to say use the advanced 3D image settings. Now if you have a lower end gaming machine and you know you have one and you're losing a lot of FPS or struggling with the game itself, go to use my preference, change this from quality to performance and say apply. Okay, if you are losing a lot of FPS in the game because you have a mid-tier or a low-tier gaming PC, or you can put this on balanced. Try them out. One of them will work for you perfectly fine. So I'm just going to cancel this because I mean I don't need to do this with my machine. Right, so the next step you're going to need to do is go to this one over here, and then you're going to select the graphics card you're currently running. Yours will be automatically selected like this, which is recommended. It's not recommended because it's going to switch between your CPU and your GPU, and you don't want that. So you're going to select your graphics card and say apply like this, and it's going to say applying changes. Once that is done, you're going to go over here where it says manage 3D settings, and you're going to go to program settings like this, and it's going to load up the games that you have installed on your machine and programs that you have installed on your machine. Alright, so I did this for Dying Light because I'm playing Dying Light at the moment. So you're going to go to add like this. You're going to click on the add button. I have a lot of games on my machine, so just give me a second. Alright, you go to browse and you're going to go where your Rust is installed, obviously, again. So you go over here, Steam Apps, Common, and you're going to obviously just press R and then go to Rust and then add Rust over here. Rust exe. That's what you need, right? So it's already choosing its own settings, which is not good. You are going to change this yourself. Number one, this one over here, where it says CUDA GPUs, you are going to select your graphics card that you are currently running at this very moment as an NVIDIA user. You're going to say OK. You're going to scroll down where it says OpenGL rendering GPU, it says auto select. You are going to select your graphics card that you are running. So you force the machine to select your graphics card to run this game on your graphics card. Power management mode, you're going to click on this and you're going to say prefer maximum performance so you get the best performance out of your machine. Virtual sync, you can turn this off. Just turn it off like this so it's in black like this. Triple buffering, just make sure that one's on off. It should automatically be on off. I highly recommend keeping it on off. Where it says texture filter quality, you can actually change this to performance or high performance, depending on the machine that you're running. If you're running a very low-end gaming PC, put it on high performance. If you're running a mid-tier gaming PC, put it on performance. If you're running anything like a newer generation graphics card and stuff like that, then go with quality. A beast of a machine, high quality. But normally just leave this and leave it at quality and you should be good to go and apply these settings. Just apply these settings and you should be good to go. Close out of this and we're going to jump straight into the game. I'm going to show you the best settings that you can use inside the game itself to get more FPS out of your own personal rig. Alright, let's jump straight into that. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we are in Rust right now, and a lot of FPS boost guides don't show people the FPS that they're doing. Okay, so I'm one of those people that's actually going to show you the FPS that I'm doing in the game. Alright, first one is you're going to go to options like this, go to options, and go to options over here, and go to field of view. Alright, this is your own personal preference. I put mine all the way up, so that's your own personal preference over here. Literally your own personal preference. Nudity, you can either say underwear, pixelated, or this one. I highly recommend just putting it on underwear. That's your own personal preference. These are literally your own personal preference. I don't really need to show you any of these, but I do highly recommend if you want the best visibility in the left and right hand side of your screen, do the field of view on 90. Okay. User interface. This is obviously your show HUD, chat, all those things. These are your own personal preference as well. Audio, master volume. I highly recommend just keep it at the highest that it can go to. Voice volume, I highly recommend turning this down because if you put this all the way up, it's quite bad. When you hear people speak. Anyways, controls, this is your own personal preference. Screen. Alright, here we get to the very important parts. Okay, so resolution, you are going to put it at the highest your resolution can go to. Mine can go to 4K. I'm playing on a 4K TV, but I'm not going to play in 4K because then I'm going to start losing FPS inside my game. You're going to keep this on exclusive. If you get more FPS by borderless, go ahead and do so, or windowed mode, go ahead and do so. I know a lot of people out there that it's lower in, generation machines and stuff like that. They play it in windowed mode or in borderless, and it helps them with FPS. Okay, so I'm just going to keep mine like this because it plays it absolutely fine like that. VSync, turn it off unless you're getting screen tearing. That's what VSync is for, is if you're getting screen tearing, and it's going to cap your FPS, right? So if you don't get screen tearing, turn it off and put this on 240 and say apply. Go to graphics. Now this is your graphics quality. Alright, these play a very, very big role on your machine. Okay, so the first thing over here is graphics quality. Okay, so if you start turning this up all the way, you are going to start losing a lot of FPS in your game. I will tell you that right now. Render scale, leave this like this. You should be fine like this, okay? Shadow quality, you can actually put this all the way down to 0 because you don't really need to focus on shadows inside the game. You're more focused of the game itself than the shadows, okay? This you keep like this. max shadow lights. So that's your max shadow lights. You can keep this at 1, you should be fine. Water quality, you can keep this at 1. Water reflections, you can keep this at 1, and then world reflections, you keep this at 1. Don't turn it up. If you start turning it up, you're going to lose it. Small little bits of FPS. What you can also do to increase FPS is put it all the way down like this, like that. Have them all the way down like this. Shader level, this is the level of shaders running inside the game. Okay, so you can play around with this. Try it out like maybe halfway, quarter way. I can play my game fine with my setup at 600. Okay, draw distance. This plays a big role in FPS as well, so you can play around with this. Just find your sweet spot in the game itself. I can't tell you, I don't have your machine, so I keep mine like this, and it's fine for me. So just play around with this, all right? Shadow distance. This is obviously what it says, shadow distance. I keep mine at 800 and I just leave it there. It's perfectly fine. You can drop it a bit lower to maybe like 300 or whatever the case might be. So I'm just gonna keep it back on 800 again and just leave it there. This one over here, I highly recommend putting it all the way down to the bottom, all the way down to the bottom, and then this one you're actually going to turn off, keep this off, and keep this off, all right? Mesh quality plays a very big role in the game as well. Tree quality, you can actually turn this all the way down to about 40. Object quality, you can keep this at 100 to make your game look good, but if you're losing FPS yet again, you can turn this down to about 90, maybe 80, or maybe the 75 mark, and you should be good to go. Alright, so I'm just going to put mine back on 100 like this. Max tree mesh, this these these just play a very big role in the game as well. A lot of people just turn all of these things off like this. I swear to God, a lot of people just turn it off because you are very competitive in the game or whatever the case might be. You playing PvPs or whatever the case might be, they turn it off completely. But it's your own personal preference. If you don't want to do that, you can just leave that all the way like this, and you should be good to go depending on the machine that you're running. So mid-tier, I highly recommend just putting it on 50. So basically all of them on 50 over here. I'm just going to put mine back where it was. All right. Keep it like that. Cool. Image effects. Okay, so this plays a very big role on your graphics card itself. Okay, is this one over here where it says TSSAA, right? So this will help to smooth out jagged edges and stuff like that. You know, like square blocks or whatever the case might be. You put this on this for that, okay? A lot of people say that you should play the game on SMAA, okay? And it will help you, you know, just in general with anti-aliasing. To be honest with you, if you have a lower end graphics card, lower end machine, put it off. Completely off, like that. You should be good to go, right? I keep mine like this, or even like this. Mine can play it on anyone, but I highly recommend just turning it off completely. Alright, ambient occlusion, put it off. High quality bloom, off. Lens dirt, off. Motion blur, off. This, off. This, off. This, off. So let all of these things be off, and you should be good to go with FPS in the game. Right, these I highly recommend off, off, and all of them off. Ladies and gentlemen, if this worked for you, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're new here, and leave comments down below actually of like what machine you're running, what FPS you're doing, if this helped you out. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, peace out.